And there we are recording. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Connecting Life podcast. I'm your host, Diana Boskma. I'm here to help you connect the dots of life so that you can live your best life in a healthy and fulfilling way. Today, I'm talking with Ken Altenbach. I've known him for some years now. He's an amazing person, a really good life coach. So, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit, Ken?
Wow, I think you just did it all for me, Deanna, here. What an awesome introduction. My name is Ken Altenbach. I am been a professional life coach a little over 4 years. I've met Deanna through the coaching training forum, the ICC community, which is Insight Coaching Community, through John Strasser, who founded it and made Deanna and myself better coaches by going through that. She's an amazing woman. As she said, she's known me for a couple of years now, and every time we interact, we connect. It's just powerful conversations about who we are. I live in the state of Pennsylvania, and I could see myself coaching until I cannot coach anymore, meaning when I take my last breath, and that's my goal. I need to get myself out there to help transform as many lives as I possibly can. So, and I could do that through my life coaching. And that's what Deanna's goal as well, too, as a life coach. So thank you for having me on here today.
All right. So today, Ken and I will have a conversation about who we are choosing to be in our lives, which is a topic that's always amazing because that can go in so many different directions. So can I ask you, who are you choosing to be today in your life, Ken?
Could I start off by telling you how this came into my world?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Because I wasn't sure until it started coming into my world about what this all meant. And even when it did come into my world about who are you being, I couldn't understand the concept of, what do you mean by that? What is that all about? And even up to a year ago, and I've been doing this for like last 3.5 years about who are you being and learning about who you've been by being involved in the Ultimate Coach group, which is based off the book that Amy Hardison wrote about her husband, Steve Hardison. It's an awesome book. I highly recommend that. I have several copies that I give out for people that I meet. But the concept is about who are you being? And in this book, Steve makes it very, very clear that always read the back of the book first and then the first 2 pages of the book before you even start. And then every time you put it down and pick it back up to do the same thing. And it was hard to understand. Well, who are you being? Well, I'm being Ken. That's who I am, but it's much more than that. And what I've learned and what I internalized is this: your being creates your doing, meaning you cannot be one way and do something else totally opposite. You cannot be someone that is being a jerk or being hateful or judgmental and then turn around and then be very, very nice to a person while you're in that state of being. It's a state of being. And I love this. And it really helped me in my personal development, to learn this, to grow with this here. Who do I need to be? And that was the question I'm going to get back to you. Who are you being here today, Ken? Well, I'm being the person that I'm always capable of being. And who I'm being is knowing that I don't have the answers of everything in my lifetime, but I choose to be the one I need to learn. So when I'm learning and I'm developing, not only is it for me, but I can bring it out into the world to other people who I interact with. That's who I choose to be. And this is what I help my clients with as well. I help people in just everyday conversations. I help people in my personal world, in my spiritual world, people at my church, and everybody that in my family world. Who you are being creates what you are doing. That is a key concept. And I love how Steve, if you know who Steve Hardison is, and if you see some of the videos that he puts out about that, that you cannot be one way and then be something different later on down the road. If you choose to be judgmental and you're being that person and you're being hateful and you're being critical and everything, that's who you're going to be for the rest of the day. Unless you choose, this is not the way I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I live by that every moment to moment. The minute I wake up, what do I choose to do? Well, I choose to be proactive today. I choose to do this in my life today. I choose to create this for myself that day.
Yep.
And if I falter, I sit back and I ask myself here who I was not being when I said who I needed to be. So
Yep.
that's who I am being this with you, Deanna, having this awesome conversation with you, choosing to be on this call with you today. Most people would probably come on, well, I got to do this today. Or, Deanna's asked me here and what do I do? And, and they're going through all these thoughts. The choice for me to be here today is to have a beautiful conversation with you here today and see what comes out of that, either between you and me or to your listeners.
Yep.
So that's who I am. There's
People
a lot
will
more
get
to it than
something
that.
out of it. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
It's always beautiful to have these kind of conversations because it helps, it gets people thinking. And when people start thinking about who they are choosing to be and what they're choosing to do, and whether that's, it could be complete opposites in their lives. And when it's complete opposites, reflect on that and see what you really want to do. Who do you really want to be? When you want to be a loving person, you're not going to be, when you're going to do the hateful things on one side, that's not going to work. So it's about choosing that. And it's one of those things that I found really amazing about writing my document back in the day. I'm pretty sure you've got one too.
Oh, yeah.
And I read it every morning. And regularly I also read through it and have this thing of, is there anything that needs tweaking? Because some things I've lived into so much that I want to tweak it a bit to make it more, because creating a bit more out of the document is a nice thing.
That's beautiful. I want to touch on something you said in the beginning. When I said I get it out into the world, and people are hearing this, and you said something very, very beautiful. Well, it's what people will get out of this. Okay, whatever the message is, get it. You're absolutely people. You have to choose that you want to get something out of this here. Okay,
Yes.
Now getting back to your document and stuff here, and I love what you said that you read it every single day, but you change it. The document is a living document.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
It's a living document. It's not something that's cemented in stone that, okay, I created this. This is how I have to live, because things are going to change in your life here. And you recreate your document. It's not saying get rid of the one you have. It's that you expand upon that. And I love that. And Deanna, can I give you a little suggestion about that as well? You said you read it every day, and that's what I did. Okay. What I did, and I did this based off of reading it in the Ultimate Coach book, is this, that I recorded myself. I recorded it. And when I meditate in the morning time, that's one of the first practices I do. I listen to my document, and I had my wife record it as "you are." And I learned this from Steve and Amy.
That's nice.
You are.
Yes.
And so when I'm meditating in the morning, I'm listening to this here, and and listening to this document here. Not only this is what I internalize, this is what I'm creating, who I'm going to be here, but this is who I am is creating how I am showing up for other people. You are this. You are a loving husband. You are a loving father. So it's just a suggestion for you. So
I like that. The thing is, I have recorded it for myself.
All right.
Some time ago, because at some point I had this thing of, sometimes I'm a bit short on time. How can I have it with me every morning anyway, without having to sit here and read it? So I recorded it so that when I go with my dog to the woods, while we stroll through the woods, I can listen to it. And what you said about the "you are," that's actually a really interesting thing, because I learned about that from Brian Scott, because I really like listening to his meditations and his book readings. And he does some meditations as "I am" and other meditations as "you are," because different people pick it up differently. So you have both, which is amazing. I might do something similar. Got to think about who I could ask to record that in the "you are" to me. But we'll have to re-record that every couple of months then.
Well, I like what you just said too here is like, we all come up with the excuses. I don't have enough time to do this. I don't know how to, and we live in that world and we do that here. But I love what you just said. Okay. Hey, I may feel that I don't have enough time here, but you got enough time to take your dog into the woods. You are in a peaceful environment and you're listening to that. You created that. Okay. Instead of creating, well, I can't do this right now. I can't do this right now. I can't do this because I don't have so much time. And you didn't live in that world. So you created
Mhm.
your document or create it listening to your document while you're out doing something already. Who says you had to sit down and okay, the next thing is I got to listen to my document here. You could do it wherever you want to. I've
Yep.
even done it in the car. You know, if I
Mhm.
didn't have to, I've done it in the car as well too. So
Yep.
I love what you just said. Just some
It's
more information for people who says, I don't have time. I don't have time. Yeah.
when you don't have time, you live in ors instead of ands, and I prefer
Yeah.
living in and,
Yeah.
because in
Awesome.
and there's more of me,
Mm,
more growth,
absolutely.
more well-being, more good feelings. It's nice.
Who am I being? Right there. Who am I being? Who do I need to be in order
Mhm.
not to live in yours and I'm going to be in the ants? That's
Yeah.
who. That's
Yep.
exactly what it's all about. So,
Yep. It's a choice.
yep, absolutely. That's the everything in your life is a choice. No matter what happens
Mhm.
to you in your life, stop and understand it's not your fault, their fault. It's not the world creating it. It's not the outside circumstances that are making you feel the way it's the choices you make. And I say this
Mhm.
sometimes to my clients here, and it's hard for them. No, 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 no. They made me angry. No, 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 no. They made me late. No. You choose.
I really have a thing with that when people so I I encountered someone for a while who would have this thing. Well, you did this and that made me angry. And I said, no, I did that and you chose to be angry.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that would then at times, but
yeah.
I really could not let it sit that way because I wasn't doing crazy stuff. I was
Mm,
doing something like put the spoon in the wrong place. Well, that's
mm,
it's those kind of things. But when you encounter people like that, it's a fascinating thing to not get sucked into that because when you get sucked into that you start to feel really bad, so and then you're not going to be your best
mm,
self. So
mm,
staying with yourself, then knowing, because that's one of those things that I learned from Miguel Ruiz, the four
mhm,
agreements.
mhm.
Do not assume, do not take it personal, because when someone tells me you did that and that made me angry, that's not about me, that's about them, has nothing to do with
Yeah,
me, because when I
love that.
move something to the wrong place for them might be the
Mm,
right place for me. We can talk about that, how we can
mm,
do it different in a way that works for both of us. But getting angry about it is not going to resolve anything.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
choices.
Mhm. Getting angry about something is just giving you an excuse to not to look inside yourself. Okay, it's
Yep.
all it is. Okay,
Hmm.
you did not make me, and that's the way who you need to be. Who am I being today? I choose not to let things take things personally. I know exactly what you said, and I'm a studier of Miguel Ruiz's four agreements as well too. Here,
Mm,
I
love
know
it.
that if you're going to talk bad about me, don't take it personally because I know that's something that you're feeling internally
Hmm.
about
Yes.
yourself that you don't want to face, you don't want to live up to, you
Nope.
don't want to change about yourself
Hmm.
here. You
Yep.
don't you choose to stay because it's more easier to try to make me look bad instead of looking at your own internal faults.
Oh yeah, looking inside is so
Yep.
much harder than just leaving everything where it is. Because for a lot of people, they're in a place where they don't feel comfortable. And I started calling that the uncomfortable comfort zone because they're in a
Yeah.
comfort zone, but they're not really happy. But
Mm,
changing that feels uncomfortable, and we'd rather be kind of comfortable than get really uncomfortable.
mm,
But seeking discomfort in growth,
mm,
I love that. It's just such a
yeah,
good thing, and it's not easy. I'm not saying it's
yeah.
gonna be easy because there's times where it's gonna be really hard, but seeking that discomfort of growth and
Yep.
change is it's
Isn't
beautiful in
that the
the end.
point? Isn't that the
That's
point?
you would
So
think so.
So one of the things that Sayik and I was telling you before we were recording, he talks about a metaphor about I've always went to the line. I've always went to the line, but I never crushed the line. I never went past it and destroyed that line. That
Mm,
is your comfort line. Well, okay, I'm going up to the line. All right. This looks a little bit hard past that line, so but I'm so comfortable over here, so I'll just stay here because I don't have to be responsible for anybody. I don't have to make excuses other than the fact that, hey, it was too hard for me, but it's okay. And I love
mm,
what you said, going to that line. that past that's your uncomfortable. You know, Deanna, you and I are cut from the same cloth when it comes to personal development and helping other people do the same thing and
Yeah.
see who they need to be to experience the uncomfortable, because that's where their growth is. It's in that
It's,
uncomfortable world. And I
yep.
I had those conversations with my clients as well. Well, what does it look like if you decided to be uncomfortable? What would
Mm,
you do? A powerful question here. Or
mm,
how's it feel staying in your comfortable world and you want to be there and you're here? Great questions about to ask it. And you're right. You got to challenge that. Challenge yourself. The mountain's there. What are you going to do to move that? How, you know, what's going to come up to
mhm,
help you move that? It's too heavy. Forget it. But over here,
mhm.
that little that anthill is just much more easier for me to push, you know. So,
Yep. Yep.
great
It's
conversation. I love this.
yeah. With one of my clients, I actually called him out because I had this thing. That's village mentality. You've never left where you are. And he had this
Ooh,
thing, village mentality. He's Dutch, so sometimes I have to call him out a bit harsh. And he had this, that's village mentality. Yes. So when are you going to change something? And
yeah.
then he started thinking and thinking. He'd say, you're so right. Because it was,
Mhm,
he really stayed in his little circle, but he wanted to
mhm,
create big things. Well, when you stay
mhm,
in your little circle, you're not going to do great things. So he had to
mhm,
get out of that village headspace that he was in. Because
mhm,
whether you live in a village and you never leave, you have that
mhm,
kind of headspace. But you can have that even living in a city, you can have village headspace. So it doesn't really matter.
mhm,
But it was an interesting way of putting it so that it got a picture
mhm,
for him as in, oh, I'm staying in this. Yeah, it wasn't really comfortable the way he was staying in, but he was staying in it. And he's just opened all
mhm.
doors.
Yeah, that was powerful metaphor, powerful image that you create here, and because that's what most people do. I
Hmm.
can't do this because they're going to think this about me, or yeah. So I'll just stay with the conformity, what everybody else is doing. Well, look at yourself. You,
Hmm.
as you said, your client wants to do great things, but I'm not going to do it because what would they think about me? So you stay in that village here, and then you complain why you're
Hmm.
not at that, because you
Yep.
choose, or who you're being. Well, I choose to be with the people here to make them happy because I
Hmm.
don't want them thinking that I'm a bad guy and stuff like
Hmm.
that. But I loved how you opened up his eyes and he thought about it. That's what
Hmm.
coaching's all about,
Yep. It's helping people think. The thing is,
you know?
a lot of people feel like the village is holding them back, but the village
Right.
can't. It's not tying them down. There are no
Yeah.
chains or anything to keep them where they are. It's
Mhm.
all in their mind. So the moment
Mhm.
you get into this, wait, I can leave the village. I can actually go on the road and do my thing. People in the
Mhm.
village will probably not even be aware of it or care when I've left.
Mhm.
Because honestly,
Mhm.
how many people are really going to think about, oh, my neighbor is doing da da da? That's not okay.
Yeah. Mm.
Rarely. It has to be
There's a
something really, really outrageous for
yeah.
people to actually think
Yeah.
about that.
As you're talking about this, and we're having this discussion here, there's many times in my personal development, I'm sure you came across this metaphor or this actual things that happen in
Hmm.
the world of crabs. You catch a bunch of crabs, put them in a bucket. Crabs are going to start trying to escape.
Yes.
However, instinctively, the other
Hmm.
crabs, when they see that crab trying to escape here, they'll keep pulling them back. I love that. I heard that so many
Ah,
times.
yes.
They instinctively pulled them back because, hey, look, where are you going? You can't be famous. You can't be great. You can't do what you need to because we're
Mm.
not. So we're going to bring you back down. Break that crab mentality. Don't let the other crabs
Hmm.
go through the painful of maybe losing a claw, maybe
Hmm.
losing this here. But you know what? You could grow back another claw. Okay.
Yep.
So, I
That
love that.
that reminds me of a study about that's because we've always done it this way. So they did a study at some point with monkeys where they had up somewhere bananas hanging. In other places they could have them, those they would get electroshocked.
Mm,
So at some point the whole group would not go up there. They took the electroshock away, put the bananas there, got some other monkeys in. Those monkeys were pulled down because the
mm,
electroshock. At some
mm,
point, the whole group had been exchanged. There were no monkeys in there anymore that had felt it. Nobody went up there because that's what we've always done that way. Because they were
mm,
all, even the conversation couldn't be had because they were monkeys. But simply, they would all be pulled down. Nobody was questioning that. And we live in a world where we don't question things because we've always done it that way. We don't have
Yeah.
to keep doing it that way. We can do it another way. We just have to think a
Mm,
bit about it. I found that
yeah.
really fascinating too. When I learned about that study, I thought, oh, what have I been doing that way?
Yeah,
Because it's always
absolutely.
right away clicking in my head. I said, oh,
Right. So people are afraid to go against the norm. The
hmm
people are afraid to speak up. People are afraid to say, well, I have a better way. Let's
hmm
find out it, especially in your corporate world. Well, we've always done it that way. Why change it? Why, how do they put it? Why disrupt it? Why create the waves on for the boat? Why rock the boat? Why do other things? So we'll go ahead and continue. Come in here, do something we want to do. We know it could be better. We'd be all upset about that here. You're creating your being. I hate this job. And everybody that comes around you here, you're good, you're passing that on here. And that brings us back to the who you create your being here.
yep,
Create your being. Okay. If you go to a place, an organization, a church, a school, or whatever here, where you are held back because of the conformity, because that's the way everybody else did it, then choose to be the person that said you need to either help them change it by changing yourself first or leave and find something else.
yep,
Go somewhere else. Okay. And then what people say, well, that's impossible. Okay. There's nothing out there here. Well, that's who you're choosing to be. You're choosing not to be someone that could be better than yourself here because you're staying right in your comfortable world. I love
hmm
this. Powerful conversation today.
yeah, yeah. It's all about choosing and
Yeah.
changing and growing.
Mhm,
That's what life's about.
mhm,
One of
mhm,
those things that very early on in my personal development journey, I don't even know, it's years ago, then I had an end goal in mind. And then at some point it clicked in my head as in there is no end goal because there's always room for growth and improvement.
mm,
And then I had to say, oh, wow, this is amazing. So it started to become this really cool journey where to the end of my days, I
mm,
can become a better me. Wow.
mm.
Amazing. That was just one of the best thoughts I've ever had. It was so insightful and it's
Mm,
still sticking with me, even when,
mm.
because, every now and then I do have a bit of a bad day. We all do, I would think.
Yeah,
But then
right.
knowing that tomorrow will be different and I can keep
Mm,
growing and keep growing and keep
mm,
changing, amazing. It makes me
mm,
feel a whole lot better when I don't have a good
mm.
day. So,
Yeah. I love what you're saying there, and I just want to make it perfectly clear. Okay,
mhm,
people are looking for coaching. That's what we do. We help them coach here, but it begins with you.
mhm,
You have the choice to say, okay, what's Ken and Deanna talking about this personal development? What are they talking about? That's impossible. It's just picking up a book. It's maybe even getting a coach that can recommend something for you to start your personal development. But you have to choose. It's
mhm,
not Deanna who's going to do it. It's not Ken that's going to do it for you. It's the choice that you want to make in your own life about how do I make myself better? I don't like the way I'm living. I don't like the way I'm feeling right now. I want something better. What do I need to do? Oh, let's pick up the 4 agreements. Let's
mm,
pick up any personal development here. And if you feel that you want to go ahead and get a coach here, just reach out to us here and we'll
mm,
show you that way of doing, not show
yes,
you. I'm sorry. I don't show clients and you don't either here. You
no,
help clients have their own insights
yes,
about that.
we
You
support them on their journey.
Right. But that's a
Yeah,
choice that you have to
yeah,
make. Okay.
yes,
You got the way of being. You can wake up every morning. This sucks. My life sucks. No one's going to help me. It's everybody else's fault. That's your choice of being. And that's going
hmm
to create your rest of your day for you. What are you? Your
yes,
day's going to suck. Everybody stinks. Everybody's after me. Everybody's causing me to, or you can choose here. I don't want to be this way here. What is my first step to do that? How do I
mm,
get there?
yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
the
love this
beauty
stuff.
is with clients, you can give them possibilities. Isn't something comes up in a conversation? So one of the things that frequently comes up in conversations with my clients when I start out with them is the 4 agreements, because
Mhm,
many people assume things and take things personal, and just questioning that, as in,
mhm,
was that really about you or was that more about them? Can you have a look at that, or
mhm,
are you taking something, you know, personal or assuming something? Because one of the
mhm,
sayings here in the UK is when you assume something that makes an ass out of you and me. And I like
Mm.
that one. And I have at times pointed that out, that that saying is there, and whether they were maybe assuming things that may not be true. And at times that's been really cool, because someone telling me, yeah, my partner, la 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 la, is that really true? Is then the question.
Mm. Mhm.
And then,
Byron Katie.
yeah,
Byron Katie.
and then they sit with that as in, well, I would think so because they did.
Right.
Yes, they
Mm.
did. But
Mm.
does that mean that 1 and 1 is 2?
Right.
Because it frequently isn't.
Yep.
And then talking more about mind reading, because we can't read people's minds. The fact that they do something maybe for a completely different reason than what we can think of. Because I
Mhm.
only think from what my experiences in my past. I don't think about things that has never happened in my life. So
Mhm.
I can't assume that everybody has lived my life, because nobody has. So
Right,
what I
right.
can come up with is probably not the reason why they did something. And
Mm.
frequently when they start asking questions, then, because that's one of the things that I find super important as well, is to ask the questions,
Mhm.
have the conversation.
Mhm.
And then they come with the, huh, I asked, and guess what? It was completely different than what they assumed. But they were pissed off about what they assumed. And what actually was the case wasn't going to piss
Yeah.
them off.
Yeah, right.
And then I frequently recommend the relationship handbook as well when
Mm.
it's about couples, because that's an
Yeah.
amazing book about relationships, how to
Mhm.
communicate. Love it.
Mm. Mm. So, I wanted to touch on something about when I talk to my clients as well too, and when they start with the, okay, well, I'm this way, or my limiting belief is this, I'm not good enough, or I don't
Mm,
think people will accept me and everything like that. And I ask them, I said, where, one of my favorite questions here, where in your past has that been said to you? And they will give
mm.
you some examples,
Yeah,
this is
who
what they
told you
perceive
that?
it.
Yeah.
Who told you that? And then I come back with them to this. I said, that person that told you that, they're not the problem. You want to know what the concern is here, right here? You chose to believe what they said. You
Mhm.
chose to believe that that's you because
Yep.
someone else must see that in me or see
Mhm.
that in whatever here. So you live the rest of your entire life. And I love coaching around that.
Yeah.
Who are you really? Who do you want to be? How do you, and
Mhm.
then do we take them from where they're at to where they need to go by making them choose the actions that they need to be and
Yep.
not worry about what other people think. You chose, and your listeners are going to listen
Mm.
to this. Everything that you believe about yourself that comes from another person, you chose to do that. It's not their fault. It's because you chose to believe it. So,
Yep. One of the things that I found really fascinating to watch years ago in the meantime as well was a video of Jordan Peterson. In that
mhm,
video, he explained that as a human being, as an adult, you're the accumulated opinions of others. And initially I had this thing, what do you mean? But when he was explaining it, it came down to the same thing as the domestication um, chapter in the Four Agreements, because people tell you who you are from the moment you're born.
yeah,
And
yeah,
once you believe that, that's who
mhm,
you're going to be. Once you
mhm,
question that, you're going to be you. And
mhm,
at some point, oh, that's over 20 years ago in the meantime, I discovered that my mum had been telling me something about me. I'd lived into that all those
mhm,
years for decades. But then there came a moment where I couldn't.
mhm,
And then I realized, wait, she's not been right, because
mhm,
I do enjoy this. What? But that's started a whole journey of me questioning anything I've been told about me. And that was before I even read the Four Agreements or had watched the
mhm,
video.
yeah,
I just started questioning so many things. And that probably got me onto this path as well, because I
mhm.
realized I do like so many more things than I thought.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I love that. That's a beautiful. I love what you brought up about the four grids, the domestication here. We
Mm,
lost that ability
mm-hmm.
once we became 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
We were telling as he explains in the book here,
Mm.
think about all these kids. They don't care what they do, what people think about them,
Oh.
whatever knocks them down, they get
Mm,
back up again. But at some point, you decided at 8, 9 years ago, oh, mom said it, the church said it, the school said it,
mm-hmm.
everybody else is doing it this way. That way is the right way. Instead of
Yeah.
questioning and challenging it, you just
Mm-hmm.
accept it. And that is your choice. Now,
Yes.
granted, I understand at 7, 8 years, you don't understand these concepts. Oh, I choose to believe that about myself here. But by the time you're
Mm.
13, 14, 15 years old here, you have that choice here, but you're so domesticated based off of what everything else is. I
Yep.
love that you brought that up here. You're absolutely right, because minute we're born, we're told what to do, what to believe in, what's right, what's wrong, because
Mhm.
our parents, as Miguel says here, they were domesticated and they were domesticated and they were
Yep.
that blah, 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 blah. So,
That's
but
generation after generation after generation of domestication.
But the difference between what you and I are, who we are right now, we choose, well, what's better? What can I
Mhm.
learn more of? And pick up that book, pick up
Yes.
that program, pick up
Yeah.
that thing here. Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Something's different here. Now I'm choosing that there is something better, that I don't have to be what everybody else tells me to be. So,
No, because we can choose who we want to be.
yeah, absolutely. And who are you being? I'm choosing to be better for myself moment
Mm.
to moment to moment. I'm going to
Yes.
grow without any worries about who is going to try to knock me down, who's going to be that crab below me and pull me down, who's
Mm.
that group of monkeys that you were talking
Yep.
about.
The
That's
monkeys.
who you need to
Mhm.
be every day. Your being creates your doing, and you and I are
Mhm.
experiencing that. Your
Yep.
being is creating your doing. So,
Yes.
great conversation.
Yep. Really love this conversation.
Mm.
I think we've got about half an hour in the meantime.
Yeah,
Doing quite well.
I thought it was only 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, it didn't feel that way. But now that I look at the clock, this has probably been about half an hour. Probably not fully, but close. So I
Mm,
think we might need to wrap it up for today. We can do something
absolutely.
like this another time. That would be cool. I would love that.
I would love to be invited to come back onto your forum again and do
Cool.
this with it, because that's what it's all about. I love what you did. And let me just say this here, you didn't show up with 10 questions I'm going to ask Ken, and Ken's going to answer that here.
Oh no.
I think we got more out of this conversation
Hmm.
than if you did ask me questions, you heard what my answers are. That's not coaching. That's just,
Yeah.
what we
No.
did. And so the people that are going to be watching this or listening, I'm not sure if it's a listening or if it's a
Both.
watching,
Both
both
options are
there.
there. Yep.
Yep. So let me just end it. I know we're wrapping up to
Mhm.
those who are going to be watching this. Okay. This is not about me and Deanna. It's no way about me. We don't have the answers for you. We're not telling you this is the way of life. Okay. You need to choose who you want to be, the way you want to live your own life. Okay. Who you are being creates your doing. So if you're complaining, or if you feel the world's against you, or if you feel, it's everybody else's fault, stop, slow down, look inside yourself here. You are choosing to be this way, and it's no one else's fault. You want to change your way of being. So
Yep.
thank you for having me on here today, Deanna. And
Oh,
yes, more conversations down the road. Absolutely.
cool. Cool. We'll do that. All right. Then the end of this bit. I really enjoyed having you. When viewers or listeners, because both are options, would like to contact you, how can they do that?
They can contact me. I want people to go to my email address, okay? And the email address is this is all one word: coaching to your success 2022. Coaching to your success 2022 at gmail.com. And
All
the reason
right.
why I'm not directing them to directed to a Facebook or an Instagram and everything, I choose not to spend my time in those forums. I do a little bit, I dabble in it, whatever here, but that's not my mode of development.
Hmm.
So I don't get on it as often here, and except for other reasons of other things that I'm involved with here.
Hmm.
I'm also on WhatsApp. If they want to reach out to me, I love that. I love that platform here, and that phone number for WhatsApp here. If they want to reach out to me and friend me and all that, it's
Cool.
570-912 570-912-5140. It is area code 1. It's the United States
Mhm.
thing. So that's where I'm at in Pennsylvania
Okay.
here. Reach out to me, friend me. I would let you know. Don't if you want to talk.
Mhm.
Well, let's do it.
Yep.
Let's reach out to me. See what's coming up for you here. I'm not here to tell you what's wrong with you. I'm not here to tell you that you need to do this here. We'll just have a conversation here and see where you're at and where you want to go.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. All right. I will definitely add the information to the notes.
Mhm.
So
Thank you
Because
so
with the
much.
phone number, I got confused, so I'll definitely
Yeah,
write it
yeah.
at the bottom.
Yeah,
All
let
right.
me write it. Let me say it again because I did hesitate. It's 570-912-5140. Area code 1. Always put a 1. So
Okay. All right. Anyway, I want to thank you for joining me today.
thank you
And
for having
that's
me.
it for today. Thank you for
All right.
watching. Bye.
Have a creative day today. Go out and create your being. Love you all. Thank you so much.